It seems like it's really been a long time since I've gone live. But I'm back. I'm back. It's been a long journey over the past several weeks, actually. Life is amazing, to say the least. My musician friend sent me a text when I got back from Florida on October 13th. He's like, no upload in 2 weeks? Hey, Sharonda. And I'm like, well, things have been pretty busy, to say the least. So many of you guys know that I left New York City in 2016. I moved to Los Angeles, California to pursue a PhD in clinical psychology. I moved back to New York at the peak of the pandemic last year, 2020, April 1st, by the way. And I'm done with my PhD, by the way. I'm done. And that's what this video is talking about. I'm going to open this package, which holds my degree. It should hold it. I haven't opened it yet. I actually got it before I went to Florida. So I left to Florida. I got a call on my birthday, September 28th, regarding a family emergency, and I immediately made plans to go visit my family. It was like a return because I had visited my family in August for my dad's birthday, and I get a call on my birthday, September 28th, you know, emergency. So I'm like, all right, made plans immediately to go down there. I got down there October 2nd. This came before. This actually, I guess, was mailed out. It says September 23rd. So I got this. I checked my mailbox before I went to Florida on October 2nd. And I see this. And I was like, okay, but you know what? Family first. Let me take care of this. I'll take care of this when I get back. So I have not had a chance to open this. So I'm going to open it. Yes, I did go to Florida to visit family. And why tell you? It's just, you wonder why I decided to become an author, why I decided to write. Writing for me is an outlet, as it is for many other authors and writers. It's a way for us to kind of transform energies into something that's meaningful. And so that's why I write. I take to writing for that purpose. Granted, it's been a while since I've written. With the new age of social media and, of course, vlogging, I decided to, instead of write, vlog, which is a video format of writing, I guess you can say. Just to put your thoughts out into the air, into the universe on video format. So you guys see that I've been doing that, obviously, with me visiting my family and some issues coming to surface, very unexpected. I did not expect this, but life is full of unexpected events, so you just don't know. You just don't know, right? Totally threw me for a loop, right? Working towards my PhD has been a journey, and it's just, I've already talked about this before. It's definitely been a journey. It's no surprise though, right? Like anytime you're working towards something that is great, that is, you know, that requires a substantial amount of energy, focus, time, blood, sweat, tears. It's a lot, you know, and I share the same sentiment with my colleagues who are part of my cohort of my PhD program out in LA. And, you know, we all go through similar things. Like, that's something that I learned going through the program I went through, was that I'm not alone. The things that I've went through, you know, is not just specific to me. right? And I took a group therapy class as part of my program, and I realized that, you know, in the group therapy class, we were just discussing like the difficulties that we're facing being PhD students. Meanwhile, we have family. We all have families, right? And being apart from our families. Many of us in that cohort were apart from our families. Some even very far, having families across the waters in other countries. And so that's a struggle. Being apart from your family, meanwhile focusing on something that requires so much of your time and attention, so much tenacity, so much discipline. And that's one thing about me. I'm very disciplined. I've talked about the kind of household I grew up in, being raised with my mother, my father. My father was more kind of lax parenting style. My mom was very strict. She was a disciplinarian in the household. So discipline for me comes natural. Self-discipline is kind of like an inherent trait that I guess has been instilled in me from early on. So for me, working towards a PhD and just pursuing higher education, like that's something it's just natural. It's just, and I'm gonna get to your comments. I just want to make sure I stay focused here with my train of thought, given that I do have a few things that I want to share. So yeah, like it's higher education is something I've always valued. I've always that's my passion. I like to learn. So when I'm focused, and that's what my attention is on, and that's what it was on, you know, while I was pursuing my PhD. Meanwhile, I would, you know, reach out to my family, check on them, see how they're doing, you know, by phone. But I hadn't visited my family since 2015. So we're talking about 6 years later, I go to visit my family. And of course, it's a roller coaster of emotions and events that take place when I go. And I'm like pulled in the middle of this. And I love all of my family dearly, right? But one of the first things that we learn in mental health, and I'm sure in any other, as it goes for any other profession, is self-care. You have to take care of yourself. Self-preservation, right? So you want to attend to others. You want to be with them. You want to meet them where they are, but at the same time, you have to attend to yourself. So I've been making sure to keep a healthy balance between the two. And here I am. I got a message from my friend. He's just like, 2 weeks, no upload, no video upload. This was October 13th when I got back to New York from Florida. And I looked at my last video and I'm like, okay, yeah. My last video was September 28th on my birthday. I just had to take a break. But I'm back. And I'm glad that he did invite me out the other night. I went out this past Friday. Today is Sunday, by the way. October 17th, right? I went out. He's like, I'm going to be performing near where I live, by the way, in Upper East Side. And it's like, come out. And I had a great time. But before I went out, I did call my dad. I was like, I had to touch base with him, check on, see how he's doing. And I say, Dad, you know, I'm going to go out. I think I want to go out, listen to some music, and have me some drinks. He was like, baby, ain't nothing wrong with that. He's like, my grandmother Mo, that's what she would do. It reminds me of her. And I just warmed my heart. I just swear, like, the universe has a way of speaking to you to give you confirmation that everything is going to be all right. And I've received so many messages from the universe through so many different mediums. Like, you'll be surprised how it works. And I say the universe, for me, that means the all. And I said that, and I was speaking to my older sister, and she's like, what? The universe? I don't know anything about the universe. I know about God. I'm like, I guess it's another way of saying God. We all have our way of expression, right? For me, I say the universe. Because the universe, it could be anything, right? Like you can receive messages from the all through a freaking banana, through a freaking creatures that's crawling on the ground, through anything, right? Just through the things that you least expect, from people you least expect. And that's what I've been receiving. And even from strangers, people that don't even know me. It's just like, you don't know me, but you're speaking a word to me that resonates with my current situation, which is confirmation. And then I give a response. I'm going to tell you guys about going out, right? And I met this physician while I was at the club that my musician friend performed at. And it was just another confirmation. So after, you know, I got off the phone with my dad, I was letting him know that I was going to go out, enjoy myself. He was just like, yeah, enjoy yourself. And he's telling me everything is going to be all right. So I'm like, if he's telling me, right, he, of all people, is telling me everything is going to be all right, I think I need to listen to my dad and know that everything will be all right. Right? I went out, enjoyed myself. I had a freaking ball. I'm like, oh my gosh. Life is just, it's so amazing. So, my friend, he's a musician. He plays at different venues, weddings. He's done small-scale events, large-scale events, and he's playing live music on his guitar, and I'm jamming. He brought his female friend along, and me, I'm just being social, interacting with her, introduced myself to her. We vibed. She also has locks. She was sitting at the bar. I was sitting like on the bench, kind of near the front window of the establishment. And something told me, just get up, go interact with her. Be social. And that's what I was doing. And as I did that, it was a guy who happens to be African from Togo and a physician, MD, that was sitting behind where we were at the bar. And he came up and introduced himself. He was like, oh, you guys know the musician? I'm like, yeah, I do. We both do. His friend, his female friend though, she knew him from high school. And I'm like, I just kind of met him in August before I went to Florida to see my dad for his birthday. And he's like, oh, he thought I was just so fascinating. And, you know, just a great vibe. Just great vibes. The physician guy, you know, we decided to exchange contact information. I did the same thing with my musician's female friend. And we hung out. We hung out following that, right? No, not what you think, because it's funny that my musician friend was just like, oh, you got laid. No laying down here. But we did, like, exchange words, and we hung out. He invited me to his place. He also lives in Upper East Side. And the conversation we had, it was just very telling. Just like, wow. And as he's saying things to me, it's almost like he knew me, but you know how you talk to someone, you're like, damn, do they know me? Like, who sent them? Like, so he's speaking things that resonate with me without even knowing me or knowing the current situation at hand. And it was confirmation, like, wow. There is a God. At times I say there is a God, right? There is a God. It has to be, right? It has to be a higher power, some divine being that's orchestrating these things so that when you are facing times of distress and concern and worry, the universe, the all, which could be anything within the universe, sends a message and speaks to you. So y'all know I'm very wordy. I'm very wordy. But I'm not so wordy when I'm writing though. Like, of course you edit, so gotta be more concise when writing. You love my hair so much? You got long locks too. Yes, the universe. I went back as a doctor. Okay, so more on, me being a doctor, right? So much, like so many messages, right? So Out of nowhere, I get a call from my other doctor friend who is a gynecologist. He's also from Africa. This is just like out of the blue. Like, we've been in contact, but we kind of like, you know, we all have our lives, right? He has his life, I have my life. So, you know, we don't keep in contact as much. But just yesterday, he called to check on me. And actually it was Friday because that's when I was out at the bar. And I was like, I can barely hear you, but I hear your name. He told me who he was. I was like, I got you. I'm going to lock you in. And I told him I would hit him back yesterday. And I called him back and we chatted as I was walking through Central Park. And he's just like, hey, Dr. Danny. And I'm just like, stop. We're friends. You don't have to call me doctor. And I've said this like so many times to so many different people. I just find it interesting. It's just ironic. Well, life is, I'm going to try not to cry. Because life is ironic. How we work towards something that we want to achieve, right? And it wasn't so much about being called a doctor as it was about just pursuing higher education and giving back. But a part of that, of course, anyone in a PhD program, MD program, nursing program, whatever your program is, like you want to receive credit for what you're working towards. And it's just like now that I have it, not to say it doesn't mean anything, because it does, because I work for this, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to me about being called doctor. It doesn't. What matters to me is, I guess, just being healthy, being alive, you know, having people who care about me. That's what matters. This matters too. I'm not going to say like it doesn't matter. It does. But when people say, like, he was like, oh, hi, you know, Dr. Danny, I'm just like, save me with the doctor. But I appreciate it. I'm actually beginning my postdoc very soon. As soon as I can blink my eye and open it again. And with that, I applied for professional liability insurance, and they're calling me doctor, and even like officials are calling me doctor, and I'm just like, well, I graduated with my PhD. I'm working towards licensure, but I take it as this is meant to be. And I thank you guys for acknowledging that. It makes me feel good. So, but that's just, I guess, my own internal process, right? I'm sharing this with you guys. I just find it interesting. I feel like I'm in a good space, though. I always feel like I'm in a good space. I live life well. So if you live life well, as you should, then you'll always be in a good space, right? Despite things that are happening around you. So I guess I'll open this. This is funny. That's why I like to write. I'm going to start back writing again too. Painting, I've painted a lot of pictures. So I'm just like, I might take a break from painting, but definitely write. So, because this is just the beginning. I guess that's the reason why I'm like not putting so much. This is just one milestone, right? There's more to come. And it's bigger than this, right? It's bigger than this. My journey is much bigger than this. So I appreciate everyone who has acknowledged this. And of course it means a lot more when, you are an African American working towards an achievement like this. So when you see tears, it's a lot more behind the tears. That's why I'm just going to write about it, because it's very loaded. It's layered, you know. people doubting you, people speaking bad about what you're working towards. This whole thing with, and you guys seen I made videos about, you know, in terms of dating and the issues that black men and black women face, and that whole life coach, right? You guys know, I'm not going to say his name, but the whole life coach, she's got this thing about black female PhDs and speaking negatively about us and saying that, you know, we're not worth anything. A black man is not going to want to deal with the black female PhD. And you guys know that I'm single still. I don't have any kids, although I do want some. And it's funny how that came up when I was in conversation with the physician guy I met at the bar on Friday. And so I'm at peace, despite people saying whatever they say, right? Because everyone has their opinion, and they are entitled to their opinion about doctors, black doctors, female doctors, or whatever. Piece of paper, they call this, it's just a piece of paper. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but I'm not going to let it impact me. I never had, because I know the work that I put in to get this, right? And I take, you know, pride in that. And, you know, I know that I'm in a good space. I know that every practicum experience I've had, clinical rotation that I've had en route to earn my PhD, I very much appreciate it. I've talked about it here, shared, you know, some experiences with that, and I've learned so much even through that. So I'm not going to be made to feel bad, though. It's funny, though. And I know that it's not just black people. This is a universal experience. Like I said, I remember, you know, in my program, and when I took the group therapy class, and we were talking and sharing our experiences about what it's like and just being away from family and people just having their opinions. My other classmates were saying how their own family, their own parents were like, why are you getting a PhD? You need to come home. And to hear them say that, knowing that I was kind of going through something similar, being so far away from my family and hadn't seen my family in years, it's just like, so this is not just a black thing. Because sometimes I think in the black community we think, oh, it's just something that we go through. But no, it's humanity. And that's one of the biggest lessons I think I've learned over the past couple weeks. These are like tears of relief and joy. It's just like, that's why I keep saying wow. Because I know some of you guys may watch this and you may resonate with what I'm saying, and some of you guys are like, what the hell? Right? But I think it just takes a degree of wisdom, insight, and understanding to really grasp what I'm saying. Though I may be kind of speaking in parables and metaphors and saying so many words, but not saying it directly. Because I've always been very strategic with my words. But it's good to know that we all have a shared experience, and that's what I take from this whole fiasco that has happened over the past several weeks. So many lessons. It's just like me going down to Florida twice in August. I went in August the first time, and then I just went in October. It's like so many lessons learned from that experience. And then the experience is still ongoing, right? That I do want to put it in the story. I do want to put it in the book. You know, and it's not like, oh, a tell-all book or, you know, like revealing people's personal information. That's not what I'm about. For me, it's about lessons, just shared experiences so that other people can relate. So I do have that in mind. No names will be disclosed. It's just going to be a reflection of what I learned through this. It's just so much. And I feel like it's part of my growth. So that's why I feel a sense of peace, contentment, just certainty, knowing that I'm in the right place, because I can feel myself growing. I can feel myself maturing, right? Like, life is full of lessons, and you don't stop growing. You don't stop learning. And though I'm holding this PhD, and some may think, oh, you've made it to the top. You've reached the highest pinnacle, but there's more to learn. And I'm just like, wow, if anything is, I think what I'm really holding on to is, yes, this is great, but the greater accomplishment, I think, is what I'm experiencing now and the lessons that I'm learning now. It's just like, this is where the real work begins, like they say, right? So I'm thankful for that. Aww. Given on the 7th day of September in the year 2021 in Los Angeles, California. Like they say, this whole pandemic, boy, has shed a lot of light, I'm sure, for people. And, you know, just imagine the people who lost family members through this and weren't able to see their family members in the hospital. I know that was tragic, right? And that's just part of it, right? That's one loss, like losing a family member to COVID. But imagine, you know, people losing jobs, businesses, like, so we're all part of the same experience, right, with this COVID pandemic. And I always like to say we're coming out on the tail end of it, right? This is like the tail, we're coming out of it, right, post-pandemic. But it's just, yeah, amazing. Congratulations on completing your degree requirements. Oh, yes, 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 yes. So I'm going to set this down. I am going to put it here, though. I have this, which I kind of started before I went to Florida. I showed you guys this. And I already put my picture in there. And this I'm going to replace with my actual degree. And that's that. I feel good though. I mean, going through a fucking PhD program, you have to have a bit of everything, right? Discipline, self-care, just a strong mind. Be focused, because you're juggling so much, right? Schoolwork, research papers, presentations, dealing with professors with different personalities, and they're all psychologists, and dealing with classmates, and not to mention your caseload of clients. And so it's just, it requires like a lot of strength, discipline. And to have the universe introduce me to other people, especially during this time, like the physician guy I met on Friday, and, you know, he's sharing, like, you know, we were hanging out after the club, right? And I didn't make it home till like 4 in the morning. And it's funny how my musician friend was like, oh, you got late. No, why do people minds go there? It doesn't always have to be about sex, right? But we were building, and he was sharing with me like his struggles, because he is a resident now. And he was like, I know that they say we're not supposed to count down, but he's counting down. I'm like, listen, I counted down too, right? So he's like, I have like a year and what do you say, 3/4 of the way left, or 1/4 of the way left, before he's officially done, right? Sharing with me like his struggles, and I'm like, I know. I can relate, you know. Granted, medical students go through a lot more, though. Their training is much more intense than clinical psych. But it's similar, though, right? We have rotations. We see clients. We have a caseload. We have research. We have presentations. They have, but their training is longer, more extensive. And he was just telling me, like, some of the cases that he had and the stress, you know, associated with it, and how he's dealing with it, how he's dealt with it. And same here, you know. And it's funny, he made a joke because I was telling him I'm beginning my postdoc, and he was like, "Oh, I always thought that, I always wondered why PhDs do a postdoc." He's like, "I thought it was just something that was optional." It's like, nah, it's not really optional. It's kind of mandatory. I mean, if you want to get licensed, especially in clinical psychology, so you have to work on hours under the supervision of a licensed psychologist, and that's where I am right now, about to start. So staying focused. And he was, his family is back in Africa, even further than my family, right? And he's like, he's planning a trip. Well, actually, he booked a flight to go, visit his family soon. So, like, good luck with that. And we were just bonding, relating. A lot of similarities. Because you know what you're working towards. But sometimes other people, if you're not working towards it, you just don't get it. And they think that you're abandoning family. That's not the case. You're just focused. It's just like if you were a soldier and you're at war, you have to be in the trenches, feet on the ground, focused, right? Not to say military soldiers don't come home to spend time with family. They do, but I get it. It's hard being on the other side. And you grow, and your family sees, like, this is a different person. But my dad and my mom love me the same. And that's what I appreciate. Going back home and spending time with my mom and my father, despite the situation that's at hand. They still have the same spirit, and I'm their child. So, of course, they love me the same. But I know that, they see that I've grown. And I would appreciate that they see that it's something for the better, which my mom, she supports me and she understands. I think in the midst of it, though, when I was out in Los Angeles for those 4 years, and I had, I wasn't visiting, yeah, I know, because she would say, when are you going to come down? When are you going to come down? We're planning. They always, like, have events and do things, like family events, around the holidays. And they're always going somewhere. They live in Florida, Orlando, and this place and that place, and running timeshares and all of that, right? And family reunions, and I missed out because I was focused. My little sister's a different person. She is a doctor, but she is still very respectful. So, people sometimes just don't understand, but it is what it is. On that note, I think I'm going to end this video. You say I'm 4 hours behind you. I woke up for this reason exactly. Yeah, I always maintain respect. I always have respect for my family, my mother, my father. But I'm my own person. Everyone is their own person. And we all have our own lives to live, right? Like, I have to live my life. I made that very clear. Listen, I care and I'm there. But I have to live my life. I shouldn't be blamed for living my life. And even, speaking with the physician guy that I met, same thing. He has to live his life. And, we were talking about how family's response to becoming a doctor, right? And everything that's associated with that. And how he grew up Muslim. But, and it's funny, this is like a running joke, right? Especially like when you're pursuing like a higher degree. And this is common. I didn't think that it would be common, but apparently it's just a part of the developmental process, right? We all grow up a certain way, but then you step into your own identity, and that's pretty much what happens. And I learned that also in my program. There's like a kind of relationship between, there's a correlation basically between you know, pursuing higher education and kind of stepping away from religion. Yeah. So, not that you just don't believe in God, because even the physician God, he referenced God, right? It's just, you know, he's spiritual, but he's just, you know, stepped away from his religion, and he was talking about the response of his family. My sister, though, when I visited, I think this was in August when I went to Florida, she invited me to her church. That was so weird, yo. I'm going to end this video because I do want to grab me some real breakfast. And I'm going to take a walk. I checked the weather and it seemed like the highs were going to be pretty low. I'm like, wow, okay. I think the highs is like low 60s, high 50s today in New York. But yeah, she invited me to her church. I went. And of course, it's just like Baptist. And I think it kind of gave me Pentecostal vibes. She's a praise dancer and the mime dancing, right? I went to see that, to support her. But I can tell the difference just sitting in the church. Different. It's different because how I grew up, you know, me clapping and singing and catching my Holy Ghost, and I'm just more an observer this time when I went, all right, as opposed to when I was younger, just more an observer, like. And that, you know, when you haven't been to church, right? Let's say you're in church and you have been going to church, and then someone comes into church, it's just like you look at them like, who is that person? They're an outsider, because we're all standing and we're clapping and it's not that I wasn't enjoying the music. I'm just observing, because I'm a thinking person, more of a thinker now. Then, of course, I was a thinker even when I was younger. But it's different when you're a child, because you're kind of just like force-fed religion. So, I know these words may come off a certain way for people who are devout Christians and have a, you know, strong attachment to religion, whatever that religion may be for you watching. It's like, oh, you change, like, you look at it as a bad thing, like you change, you know, but I feel good. I feel at peace with myself. I did get me a plate of food afterwards. They had some fried chicken. I think they had some collard greens and some cake on that plate. I tore that food up. The food good, you know. It's good vibes. It's just, you know, different perspective. Can we respect that? Where am I going today? I've been all over the place, just enjoying New York City, as always. Just how I did when I first moved here in 2014. You guys can tell I'm an adventurer, so sometimes I just like to go places and not have a destination. I just like leave my house and I start walking. And then somehow my internal guide, paired with the universe, kind of pulls me a certain direction and turn me this way and that way. I like to do that. I don't do it all the time, but of course there are times where I have a designated place that I'm trying to reach. Walking with a purpose, right? Everything is with a purpose, though. How you guys been? How you been, Sharonda? Life is great. Thank God for peace. Thank the universe for peace. Of mind. Because sometimes you get disturbed and you're just losing sleep. Not to say I'm not human, because I feel anxiety. I feel disturbed sometimes. Like, I feel everything anyone else feels. It's just, I think, how I manage that and what I choose to do with it. I do walk, so I burn a lot of anxiety off just through walking. So it's like alchemizing that energy, turn into something positive. Some people turn to drinking alcohol, smoking. I do not smoke. I will have like wine, like even when I went out on Friday. Of course, I ordered some drinks, but I was in a happy state. So I think it's important. Like when you're stressed, you don't turn to alcohol to soothe, right? Because then you're going to create that dependency, right? You're going to start rewiring your brain. You have to allow your body to naturally do what it does to self-soothe without the help of drugs or alcohol. You don't want to create an addiction. So I'm very mindful of that. Not to, like, if I'm stressed, not to go, oh, let me get some alcohol and turn to alcohol. No, only if I'm in a happy state, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm chill. Okay, I may have a glass of wine. But I'm very meticulous and mindful about that. It's really about health, especially considering the situation at hand. That's even heightened my appreciation for health and wellness and in eating better. Yep. You're doing awesome. Good. Awesome. Where are you? Did you tell me you in Amsterdam, Sharonda? My musician friend said that he wanted me to go with him to Amsterdam. At this point, I'm just like, yes, let's do it. I do want to go to Africa, though. I'm glad. It's funny because it was like warm yesterday, and then now I think it's chilly. I see people with hoodies on and coats and stuff. I haven't been outside yet, but I'm about to go. And I'll probably just wear my bifold coat. Alaska. Where did I get Amsterdam from? Alaska. I guess I was thinking because I know you say you have your greens from time to time. Alaska. What is it like in Alaska right now? Oh, by the way, this is my first time wearing this. I actually purchased this. Talking with a full mouth, sorry. I'm more androgynous, if you guys can tell. I'm not feminine, not masculine. I'm just in the middle. But it's getting cold. Yeah, I figured. And grab me some food. I mean, I have leftovers. Because I did go out yesterday to eat. I don't want to eat that for breakfast. I kind of want some. I don't know what I want. I want a smoothie. Oh, thank you. I knew I was talking about something. So my jewelry. I got this before I left on October 2nd to go to Florida. I got this from the Harlem Market. The Malcolm Shabazz Harlem Market on 116th Street here in Harlem, New York. And I even felt a sense of peace. Like, that's the reason why I go to certain places, because I feel like at home, I feel at peace. And so when I went there, I'm walking through the African market on 116th Street before I had left. And I'm just feeling peace. And this, I got this from this lady. She put it on my neck because I was having trouble. I'll show you guys how it fastens, but it's like a little button right here. Turn it around. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like a button, right? And so I was like having trouble like putting it on myself, and she did it for me. And like when she put it on me, I just felt a calm. I'm like, life is amazing. Life is amazing. Just, I feel like covered. You know how you just feel like protected and covered? That's what I feel. That's the amazing part about life. My family is all the way in Florida. And sometimes people may think like, oh, well, you're apart from your family. But when you have the universe working and they're sending you people and messages that keep you confident and covered, it's just like, this is how I can show up with a smile on my face. And I'm ready to embark on the next phase of my life. Granted, the last client I saw when I finished my pre-doc internship was August 13th. And my last day in my pre-doc internship was August 20th. So, I'm ready to see clients. I'm ready. I love shopping. Ingredients, Brooklyn, New Jersey. Oh, you like shopping in Brooklyn, New Jersey? Yeah. Brooklyn is very cultured. You have that in Manhattan too, like in Harlem, but definitely in Brooklyn. On that note, I'm going to wish you guys well. I want to extend the peace that I have to you guys. Peace and clarity and just acceptance. Sometimes we experience so much distress because we don't know what to accept and what to war against. You know, we're at war with ourselves, and instead of just coming to an acceptance of it. And I know that takes time too. Everyone reaches that point on their own time frame, you know. But for me, being kind of like a rational person, I think, and I do my own cognitive reframing, and things begin to make sense to me when I begin to think. So if it makes sense, then that creates a degree of ease within me, right? And peace. Because it's like, oh, okay. Now it's starting to it's like things come full circle. Like, oh, and my dad is 80 years old. So it's just like, things are coming full circle. Me and my dad are so in sync. It's crazy. And my mom too. She called me last night. I was just like, wow, you called me at the right time. Perfect timing. I'm ready to go outside and get some fresh air. I like when the fresh air just hits my face. And when it's a certain temperature, I love it. My other friend, African friend, the gynecologist guy, he was like, he hates it. When I first met him, it was, what year was it? It was like the winter of 2019, I think it was. And he's from Gambia, and we met during the winter, and he was like, yo, he had this light little jacket. I'm just like, he was like, oh. I'm like, you know better than that, but he had just got here. It's just like, yo, you know better than that, y'all. You gotta get a coat. You gotta get a coat from New York. You can't get it from anywhere else. Or at least from up north. Maybe he got his coat from Africa. No, you gotta get a coat from here for this kind of weather here. As long as you bundled up, it'll be fine. He was like, I'm not looking forward to the winter. Yeah, call your dad and do video. I wish I had done video with my dad, because I'm alright. Everyone's saying, I'm alright. Well, you say you're alright. You're alright. Thank you guys for tuning in. I don't think I'm going to be going live often, though. It's funny because even before I went to Florida, I had made a video saying that there's going to be a cosmic shift. There's a shift happening. And we all know there's a shift because of obviously the change in seasons. And somebody mentioned something about Mercury retrograde. I've been hearing that lately. I don't know anything about, I'm not really into astrology like that. I find it kind of interesting. A lot of people talk about astrology and the alignment of the planets and all that. So that could be part of it. But the shit that I was talking about, I guess, was much deeper than that. Just me sensing that things are shifting in the universe and in my life. So ready to rock and roll with that. There's my update. Doctor Danielle. My dad named me, by the way. He said he wanted me to be a boy. Or he thought I was going to be a boy. But he had a girl. So, I'm Danielle. After Daniel in the Bible. That's what he named me after. I'm going to end on that note. I'll catch you guys later. Love you guys. Smooches. And Dr. Danny. See you later, Sharonda.